I knew it would be interesting.
To get one started at Lexington.
You need to go to the school. You have to find an advisor.
That's what I was thinking to say. They're all sponsored by a teacher.
Yes, sir.
And so if you've got a teacher who's interested in, so part of it is not only the students, but getting adults, teachers interested.
Right.
And I guess it's like the French Club and everything
Yes,
else.
sir.
There is a sponsor. And so you meet after school or whatever in the public.
You have to go by like this, how the school sets up a club, because I know Dutch Fork, we had to go through an advisor, but then it had to be approved by the faculty. Like you have to go through whatever the school steps are, and then you need to contact, I guess, the state party right now, and we can help and speak with Mike and Piper and whoever else to really start getting it coordinated.
Okay.
So if you know anybody that's interested at any school, just have them call the state party. And we can try and help them, because that's one thing that Chad is really big on as well, is getting the youth involved. And that doesn't only go for TARS, but Rob can tell you the YR clubs, and then for me, just being out of college Republicans as well. Those are all three very, very, very important groups that we're trying to really get reestablished and get active. And we have multiple opportunities coming up for all of the different individuals to help out and volunteer, and with different campaign seasons coming up, not only presidential but congressional and House and Senate and whatnot. It's an awesome opportunity, and that's honestly, TARS is how I got my start, and tons of people throughout the state.
That's what Rick Quinn said, that's how he got started.
That is how tons of people from my age, just getting out of college, to up to older than Mr. Quinn, or Representative Quinn. So.
Now, if you know a teacher at Lexington High who might be interested, everybody knows a teacher who may be conservative and but maybe not want to do that, knows another, just get a teacher inside there you can communicate with. So that's one way to find a teacher who's interested and who knows how Lexington High works. That place is so big, right? Three times the size of where my daughter wants to go to college, you know. So, you know
well, no, I don't. But I was going to say, being a former teacher, I'll go and let you know real quick that that's going to be hard to do because teachers understand there's a game to play. The political game is more intense than it is in a lot of the GOP meetings I go to. And what I mean by that is finding a teacher to do so that's willing to come out and say, yes, I've had a Republican club. You know, I worked in a Democratic county, so maybe a little different here. But what I was going to say is if you can go to the teacher and say, we have X amount of kids wanting to do it, then their cover can be, well, hey, the kids came to me and they want me to do it. Instead of the teacher going, let's start this conservative club.
I don't think that's wrong.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not, but I didn't think it would be quite as bad where I was either, but it was. Yeah.
See, that's it. Okay.
I have a question, Fred.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that one of the problems is, to paraphrase, lack of parenting. What would your suggestion be for me and my 6-year-old daughter to help?
I would say to make these, like, you know, you have founding fathers and you have all these principles and you have things you can do, and just make it in an interesting way. Now, of course, I always thought it was fascinating, so I was always interested in it. But I would say just present it, and I would start nurturing her in that. I think that would probably be the best way, and just be involved and put her around us. So put her around this object, those influences. Because truthfully, you as a parent and as people, you can be taught what to do, but who you are hang around and who you influence are usually the most influential people on you. And I've seen that a lot with my brothers, even though my parents nurtured them like that and then they taught them all this. You know, they just, the people they were around didn't influence them like they should, like they needed. So I think you nurture them and you do your best to direct them in the best direction, but putting them in situations where they're around good influences is, I think, really the best way to do it. I mean, like, I'll use team tactics. I wanted to go to that, but most people wouldn't. But even if you don't, you put around people who are influencing you, very positively influencing you in the right direction. And that will stay with you forever. And if you do that, you grow up with the influences, and that will, I mean, that's what I would say. I'm trying to word it too much, but I think who you are around and are influenced by, and the groups you're put in, and the situations you're in, or it's most effective. Of course, with parental guidance and nurturing at that level as well.
One thing you do, you want to supplement their things they learn about government. There's curriculums called like Liberty Kids. They'll be very videos. For a 6-year-old, they have books that are have a lot of pictures and a lot of, it's called their level. And it teaches how the country was founded from a founding father point of view.
Oh yeah, I wanted to get the sausage
So it'd be good to supplement what you're getting in school with that curriculum.
Liberty Kids?
I think it's called Liberty Kids, and I'll confirm with.
I don't eat.
I got your information. Right?
No, I don't eat tea very much.
Okay. Yes, it's Liberty Kids. Yes. They've got books, videos.
It's so good Southern Baptist put it on the sale list.
Liberty good.
You brought your own pie.
Oh,
The biscuits and gravy. Mom was it's so good, so bad.
I was like, it's two conversations.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Edgar, what do you think influenced you the most? Your parents, or maybe through a lot of reading?
I would have to attribute it to all of it. I mean, my parents directed me in the right direction, but in the end, it's my choice. So they directed me and they nurtured me in that. But I listened to radio, and truthfully, I really got involved. I was listening to Glenn Beck, and because I listened to him for a long time, and the others, he came out with a book. You know what? I wanted to get it. I was just curious, so I read that. And then,
Which one was that? A Christmas sweater?
I was arguing with the actually. I mean, I read a lot, and I love the historical aspect of it, but I really never was like intensely involved in political stuff. And I read that book, and then you know what? I wanted to read another book. And then I started looking for groups and clubs and getting involved that way, and I started researching more, and I just kept kind of expanding. And then I got more involved in like political. I went on campaigns, and then I've done Team Pact, and I'm growing to the cause and different aspects like that. So it kind of is where I would say that my parents nurtured me and gave me that opportunity to be able to grow in this, but it was the listening, the radio, and then starting to read that kind of sprung me out, kind of sent me off really. And of course, compared to when I started doing that and doing all the things I've done, I think I've grown so much since then. I would say it's probably the past few years doing that has been probably the most developmental part of my life. So I mean,
Where do you see this going as part of your future? Political or activism or anything like that?
well, I'm actually trying to get in the Naval Academy. That's my objective. So I would plan to go in the military like that, but if God calls me later in life to maybe go into the political arena and serve my country that way, I would. But that's what I'm meant and called to do.
Good answer.
Very good answer.
I mean, we've laid out bear traps for them.
Very good.
And go Navy, beat Army.
That's what you guys got right next to me.
What was your name again?
Alan Lord, L-O-R-D. Alan Lord.
Oh, Alan Lord. Lord. Okay, now you spelled it right quick. I was kind of thinking, was it more than a little more?
That's what you
Okay,
got.
Alan, thank you.
Okay, good job.
Thank you for coming with me. Yes.
We'll rate it.
Very good. He's a very
I like this kid even more now.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, thank you.
Ooh, see, you're going to be sinning this morning.
I thought I was doing really good.
Well, that's what Don Roy said. sin.
Pope,
It tastes good.
Stars is only through the schools. It
I was
can't be
busting
through a
names,
church
but my
or
cousin
sponsored by any other
graduated